honey white loaves of bread. This isn't a sourdough recipe, it's a regular yeasted recipe. Okay, so we're gonna start with 2 packages of yeast. So I have a bulk yeast, so whenever I need a packet of yeast, I just use 1 tablespoon per packet. So I'm using 2 tablespoons of yeast. And I've got 1.5 cups of warm water here. And give that a mix. And I know my yeast is good, so I used it recently. If you don't know, if you aren't sure if your yeast is good, then just do this step and wait about 5 minutes and see if you have some bubbles, and then you'll know whether your yeast is good or not. But I know mine is good, so I'm gonna go ahead, and I've got 2 eggs here. And I've got 1/2 cup of honey. Okay, we're gonna put 3 teaspoons of salt. I've got Redmond's real salt here. I microwaved this butter and melted it, and I want to make sure it's not too hot. And it's not too hot. I did it first, that way it can cool off a little bit so it won't kill my yeast. So you just want it to where you can dip your finger in there and it's warm, you know, warm, but it's not burning hot, so that it won't kill your yeast. Look at these egg yolks. I've got my big bucket of flour, and we need 8 to 9 cups of flour. This is a 2-cup measuring cup. Okay, we put in 6 cups, and I'm gonna put those 2 cups to the side. And our dough is really sticky still, so I'm gonna get another cup in there. I'm gonna use my hands now to start mixing. It's still sticky, so I'm gonna put some more flour. On bread doughs, you don't want to put all of your flour in at once because there's a minimum and a maximum amount of flour, but you just want to start with less flour and just work the last bit in slowly, and you might not need all of it. You'll just go by how the dough feels. because you want it to be a soft dough, not like a stiff dough. Okay, I'm gonna take this out. And it still is a little sticky, so I'm going to go ahead and put sprinkle a little more flour. Okay, this dough feels pretty good. And I used about 7.5 cups of flour. This is how much I have left out of my 2-cup measuring cup. So we're gonna get this into a bowl. I've got a clean bowl, and I'm gonna put a little bit of avocado oil in here. I'm just gonna spread that around on the bottom, and then we're gonna put the smooth side down, and then twist it around, and then flip it over, and then we're going to make sure it's all oiled on the top outer surface. That way it doesn't have a skin. Okay, and we're going to get a piece of plastic wrap. We're going to cover the top. Okay, and I have a proofing button on my oven. So I'm gonna let that proof in the oven for 1 hour on the proofing setting. I'll bring it back in an hour. Hi friends. I forgot to mention that the recipe comes from this book, Taste of Home Baking Classics. It isn't in the Amazon store, so but you might be able to find it at a bookstore or something if you want to have the recipe. It also makes 3 loaves. The bread has been proofing in the oven for about an hour on the proof setting, and now we're going to get our pans ready. So I'm going to bring you over here. Okay, so we're going to grease and flour our loaf pans. So we're going to do the bottom and the sides so that our bread will easily release from the pans. Okay, and now we're going to flour our pans. And then we're just going to tap it and coat the bottom, and then we're going to tap it and coat the sides. And then we're going to get it all into one corner and dump it in the next one. And then we're going to tap it on the sink just to get any excess flour out. Because we want just enough to coat it, but not an excessive amount. I think I might need a little tiny bit more for this pan. And then I'm going to bring it back over here, and And we're gonna get the bread into the pans. Here's our bread dough. It's nice and puffy. Okay, I'm going to sprinkle a little flour down. Dough out. Okay, and this makes 3 loaves, so I'm just going to eyeball it. Okay, it looks pretty good. We'll get that in the pan. Okay, so you can just spread your dough out towards about 2 hands, and then you can make a triangle out of it and then roll it up. And then stick that into your pan. Okay, it's about 2 hands, the size of 2 hands, and then take one corner up, and then take the other corner up, and then you've got a triangle, and then start with the point of the triangle and roll it up. Okay, and I've got my 3 loaves right here. And I'm going to take my big kimchi bowl and I'm going to put it over them and let it proof for another 30 minutes. If you don't have a kimchi bowl or a big bowl, then you can put some cling wrap with a little spray on there, some oil sprayed onto it, and just put it over your bread. Or you can take a tea towel and wet it down and then squeeze all the extra water out and then just drape it over your loaves of bread. Okay, and so we're going to let that proof for another 30 minutes and then I'll bring you back. It's been about 40 minutes. You just want to let your bread get to the top of the pan. I did miscalculate, and this one looks like it was a little on the smaller side, but it'll be okay. In my oven, I've preheated it to 375 degrees, and so we're going to get that into the oven, and we're going to bake it for 25 to 30 minutes. So I'm going to set my timer for 25 minutes and check on it, and then add 5 minutes if I need to. You want it to be golden brown. So I'll see you in a little while. There's our timer for our bread, and I peeked inside and it's golden brown and it's been in there for 25 minutes. So we're going to pull it out. Ooh, the smell of fresh bread is one of the best smells ever. Here's our golden loaves of bread. Ooh, they look so delicious. Okay, and now we're gonna pop them out of the pan and get them onto the cooling rack. I just like to run the knife around the edges and then pop them them out of their pan. And since we greased and floured our pans, they come out really nicely. Okay, we're gonna let those cool down and then we'll slice them and show you the crumb shot. So here's our delicious bread. It's all cooled off. So now we're gonna slice it up so you can see the crumb. It's been cooling for 2 hours. Let's see. So here's our soft, delicious honey white sandwich bread. It still is a little bit warm even though it's been a couple of hours sitting here. I have some peanut butter and jelly here. This bread makes delicious sandwiches. And I've got strawberry jelly. And here's our homemade bread, so let's give it a try. Ooh, it's so delicious. It's so soft. Y'all are gonna love it. Thank you for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a blessed day, and I will see you next time. Bye.